So reviewing the two problems from your exit ticket today, the first one you're given is a trapezoidal based prism. So the bases are these trapezoids right here and here. So whenever you deal with the bases, when I find the area of the base, I'm going to need to find the area of a trapezoid. So as we can see here, we have a height of the trapezoid given as well as the sides being 4 and 4. We also know that this side here is 8.1. Again, don't confuse the height of the trapezoidal base with the height of the prism. The height of the prism is 12. Okay. Again, it's going to be since they're mostly going to be right prisms, it's going to be an edge, and it's going to be an edge that connects the two bases together. So make sure you don't confuse the height of the prism with the height of like a base that you may need to do a calculation, but is not going to be the height you use in the formula for other parts of the surface area and lateral area. So when I do this one here and find the actual area, first I figure out the perimeter. As I said, it's 4, 2.8, 4, and 8.1. So I add those together to get 18.9. And these are all in units because I don't know they give us any other units here. The height of the prism is 12. The lateral area would be the perimeter times the height. So I just multiply these two together. I get 226.8, which is about 227. When I do the calculation for the surface area, I like to use the more accurate version, so I'm not going to use the rounded up version down here. You can see down here, I do have like the first version of it. I do the area of the base, so I'm doing the area formula for a trapezoid. It's 1/2 the height times the sum the bases. The two bases would be 2.8 and 8.1, and 3 would be the height of the trapezoid, the base. So again, don't confuse the two heights. They're both heights, but they're heights with respect to different parts of the figure. So once I get the area of the base, which would be 16.35, I do the lateral area plus 2 times the area of the base because I have two bases. And when I do that, I get about 259.5, and that's going to be approximately 260. And I would usually say square units for both of these, 227 square units, 260 square units. One of the things you also want to keep in mind, because I've seen students that overlook this and could easily have made sure they didn't have an error in some of their calculations, and that is that always be aware that the surface area should always be bigger than the lateral area. Okay. The next prism you had was a triangular based prism. Now this one was a little bit more problematic because, I have the sides of the figure. It's 10. This is also 10, and that's 6. The height of the prism is 24 inches. I don't have the height of this triangle. So that's a little bit more challenging because I had to go back to use some trigonometry things in order to find out that height. And it's basically using the Pythagorean theorem. If I draw an altitude here, I do get that this is going to, it is an isosceles triangle. So these are both 10 inches. So if I draw an altitude in, it's going to split this into 3 and 3. And then I use the Pythagorean theorem to figure out that the height of this triangular base, not the height of the prism is 24 inches, but the height of the base is the square root of 91, which isn't a perfect square, so I'm just going to leave it as the square root of 91. So now when I start doing the components I need to get the lateral area and surface area, the perimeter, well, I have that. 10, 10, and 6 together is 26 inches. The height of the prism is 24 inches. And so when I do the lateral area and do the perimeter of the base times the height, I get 624 square inches. Now when I do the area of the base, I do 1/2 times the base, which I'm using 6 as the base, times the height, which I'm using the square root of 91, which I found before. And I would end up with 3 times the square root of 91 square inches. I'm not rounding that part off yet because of the fact that, I want to get a precise calculation before I carry that out. So when I do the surface area, I take the lateral area of 624. I add 2 times the area of the base, which I just found was 3 times the square root of 91. and I get approximately 681, and here I do need to put the units in square inches. So that is the end of these two. If you have any further questions, please either contact me or your geometry teacher. But until I see you in my live lesson, or if you're one of my students, I get to call you, I'll see you around. Have a good day, everybody.